Hi, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Cleaning the Built World hosted by Mero, the podcast where we talk about what property managers and commercial cleaning execs should know and do differently to make buildings safer, more sustainable, and more profitable. I'm Nathan, co-founder of Mero, the cleaning control center for commercial buildings. In today's episode, I speak with Christopher King, a highly experienced executive in commercial cleaning with over 10 years of experience in the industry. Chris is a senior vice president at Hallmark Housekeeping, one of Canada's leading commercial cleaning companies based right here in Toronto. In our discussion, we discuss how Chris got into the cleaning industry, the role technology is playing in redefining cleaning and scheduling, and how the cleaning industry should adapt to today's labor shortage. Whether you're a property manager, wanting to get an inside look on how building service providers operate, someone interested into getting into the commercial cleaning industry, or just keen to hear insights on how to deal with variable occupancy, rising labor costs, and the future of work, make sure to have a listen. Let's do it. Hi, everybody. My name is Nathan. I'm one of the co-founders at Mero, and we'd like to introduce our guest here today, Chris King from Hallmark. Chris, if you would like to give an introduction on yourself and your role at Hallmark Housekeeping, that would be much appreciated.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me on the Nathan Ma Experience podcast, whatever you've decided to call it. It's great to be here. Appreciate, getting the time to talk about some of the exciting things happening in our industry. So quick background, I've been working in the industry for over 13 years, all of those years with Hallmark Housekeeping Services, which is a commercial janitorial firm. I currently hold the position of senior vice president, major responsibilities being operations and overseeing our corporate programs and support departments. I'm also involved in our sales and pricing, a bit of marketing, lots of different things. I'm a graduate from the University of Guelph with a Bachelor of Commerce degree, majoring in human resources management.
Awesome. And, one thing, since I've been in the industry as well, and over the kind of past 5 years or so, is that not everyone has a direct path into this industry. What was your kind of pathway into the cleaning and hygiene industry?
Yeah, so definitely right about, not having a direct path. I kind of found myself here pretty randomly. I can say that I wasn't actively seeking a role in the real estate or janitorial industry. Obviously glad that I found my way here. I was 22. I just finished a seasonal job that I had during the last couple summers of university and was looking to start my career, full of ambition and motivation. So I had my resume posted all over the place. I was attending job fairs, in some cases, even knocking on some doors. I don't even know if anyone does that anymore, but I ended up getting a call from a recruiter who found my resume online, and they were hiring for a junior HR and health and safety position with Hallmark. At first, I wasn't too sure about it because I knew nothing about cleaning and about the industry. I was also super naive and foolishly thought that I was going to just jump right into some senior management role. But I checked myself and came back to reality and went to the interview and really liked the hiring manager and what I learned about the company, and fortunately was offered the position. So jumped in both feet, and 13 years later, and a move out of HR and into operations and a few promotions, and here we are. So yeah, I would say like most, I found myself here, not planned, but thankful that it ended up the way that it did. So.
And one thing that I kind of noticed these days, it's really rare to see anybody in one company for 13 years like you've been, and you've been incredibly loyal to Hallmark and vice versa. And they've shown that same loyalty to you. What is it about Hallmark and the way that you guys operate and the way you do business that you think is unique and, has led you to being like a mainstay in the company for, over a decade?
Well, I've never had a reason to leave Hallmark. I think it's a wonderful organization. We have, I think my favorite thing about the company is that we've got an incredible culture. I'm not the only one here that's been here for, a decade plus. In fact, got a very, very high average seniority because people just want to stay with Hallmark. We've got a great culture, great owner. We've always had themes like empowerment and engagement and loyalty and respect flow from, through all levels of our organization, but certainly from the top down. And beyond that, in the last, I'd say 5 years or so, I really like how we've become more progressive. We're really doing our best to adapt to changing times, really, really taken an interest and passion in technology and have gone full speed ahead with that, and all different types of innovation. So it's just a company that I really believe in and that I stand behind. And yeah, I think I'm a lifer at this point. So hopefully lots of good years ahead. But I think we figured out a way of providing service, in a manner that our customers really appreciate. They trust us. We're honest people. We operate with integrity. And so, that's allowed us to grow and thrive. So
And yeah, we've been working here at Mero with you guys for the past few years, and we definitely echo a lot of some of those points, and including the integrity, and I think your reputation in the industry really speaks for itself. And that kind of leads me to my next point is, you were provided the opportunity to be a keynote speaker recently at the 2022 ISSA show in Toronto, and you mentioned there that innovation in the commercial cleaning space is being applied more broadly today than in the past. Can you kind of talk a little bit about how, over your time at Hallmark, you've seen innovation evolve and kind of continue to expand, and how that's been driving some value for your clients and kind of your partners?
sure. Yeah. Well, as I mentioned on the panel event, technology sort of moved in a more linear, in a linear direction when I first started in this industry. It was like a new machine would come on the market. We would research it, test it, and implement it. Or new QA software would come out on the market. And again, we would try it out and then implement it. It's the point being that most of, historically, technology and innovation serve the purpose of helping improve one particular task. Whereas now innovation is changing the way that we clean. It's gone from linear to exponential in the way that it's moving. Technology like sensors, like what you guys offer, and robotics and AI, that is, like I said, redefining the way that we clean, how we schedule, how we deploy, how we report. And, companies that are able to take advantage, really utilize this new technology and figure out a way to embed it into their operations are going to have a great deal of success. But it also means that we all have to move at a faster pace, because if you're getting left behind now with how fast things are moving, it's hard to catch up. So hopefully that provides sort of some insight on how things have changed. It's gotten a lot more complicated and a lot more fast paced, but it's way more fun. I feel like we're doing stuff at Hallmark now that, we see some of the leading tech companies doing. We're not just looking for new mops and new auto scrubbers and new ways to report deficiencies. Like, we're looking at changing the game, going from fixed model to dynamic, on demand, all those things. It's been really, really exciting.
Right. And I'd love to zero in on that a little bit, if we could, to talk a little bit about scheduling specifically and how technologies kind of influence the way that, you've done things like scheduling. Have you seen technology make an impact on your business in a way that is, tangible? Because I think a lot of the concern or reservation about, different technologies is, implementing it and actually creating business value from it. And, I think what we all want to see is ROI, and, we're all kind of driving for that. Maybe if we can talk a little bit about, how you use technology, whether it's for scheduling or something else, to realize some real tangible business value. I'd love to hear and hear that side of your perspective.
Well, first off, you're 100% right about, the difficulty in finding real ROI and finding those tangibles, because there's a lot of stuff out there that promises the world, but then you go to use it and you're just not seeing the results that you expect, and you're not able to quantify or qualify, some of the outputs, especially when trying to demonstrate the ROI to your customer. But I guess I'll talk about sensor technology since we're on your podcast right now, because that's, we have gotten tangible results from that. We have seen those tangible gains, and we have been able to change the way that we clean. Speaking specifically about scheduling, since you mentioned it, having our buildings equipped with smart sensors, it shows us who's coming into the building, right? I should say it shows how many people are coming into the building, but beyond that, how they're using the building. So where are they going and at what times? And so that completely changes scheduling for us, especially in the pandemic, when there's hybrid working models and occupancy and usage is all over the place. We can now see exactly how the building's being used, and we can deploy the labor accordingly. So, if certain areas of the building aren't being used, we don't need to go and do the same cleaning tasks there every single day. We can redeploy the labor to the areas that need it most, the areas that are being occupied and used. We can completely change our staffing schedule, optimize their routines on a day-to-day basis, and, really just make the most out of the time that we have in the building, which leads to much better cleaning, fewer complaints. We can do things more efficiently, which also, you know, down the road can provide opportunities for cost savings for our customers. So those are not just sort of pie in the sky ideas. We're doing those right now, and we're doing them with your technology, which has been great.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, I think that is entirely due to the collaborative partnership that we've had. But obviously, Hallmark Housekeeping, there's many cleaning companies in the industry, and a lot of them have different ways of kind of doing business, especially now, as you mentioned, with the pandemic. So, with the pandemic really creating new ways of, as you mentioned, dynamic kind of cleaning occupancy levels. What are the biggest challenges you see in the near future that, are that cleaning companies need to address? And how are you kind of responding to some of those things like, low occupancy rates and things like that?
Yeah, there's a few big upcoming challenges. If we sort of stay on the topic of dynamic cleaning, that's going to be huge. Just because of the unpredictable nature of how buildings are being occupied and used means that we can't rely on fixed model pricing and staffing anymore. We have to be able to pivot quickly. And, new technology like sensors is supporting that. We're able to utilize that technology to build more dynamic cleaning models for our customers. So we've got that well underway. We have our dynamic cleaning cost plus model up and running at many of our buildings across the country, and that's gone well. We're going to have to just continue to figure out how to move in that direction so that we're as agile as possible. But, possibly a bigger challenge that we're going to be dealing with is the shrinking labor pool. It's getting harder and harder to find people and keep those people in your organization. And so we're trying to look at lots of different ways, to find the best quality, high caliber folks and give them a reason to want to come into work every day and stay with Hallmark. So we've got
Right.
lots of new initiatives underway that are related to, social well-being, incentives, things like that. But at the same time, with the inevitable problem that a labor shortage brings of having to do the same amount of work with possibly less people, that means that we also need to rely on technology, right? And be looking at robotics and sensors of ways of cleaning more efficiently. Every day we're thinking about ways that we can be better and faster, and how can we automate more. And that's not because we want to have any less people in our organization. That's quite the opposite. But inevitably, with a shrinking labor pool, we're going to have to try to do more with less frontline staff. And so these are all things that we're thinking of, and that I'm sure most cleaning companies are thinking of. Really, any organization that's labor based is thinking of right now that has to be addressed. So.
Totally agree. And, I think every business is facing this. It's definitely not unique to cleaning, but I think cleaning, has a way that they have to deal with it that, is unique in its own right. And I think the big thing that we get up on a lot, whether it's when talking about the labor shortage, is, Miro is really a tool to help empower cleaners. It's how there to help get the most out of the staff that are at the buildings, and overall there to really kind of help drive as much of a kind of positive experience as possible for a cleaner. I think when you imagine a cleaner's day, they want to spend less time doing, those busy work tasks, as we call them, or more routine tasks, and spending more time on things that drive value for the tenant and drive value for the client, and allow you to be kind of a little bit more customer focused. And I think those types of things are definitely underappreciated, and some things that technology can really help and assist with. And to build off of that a little bit, we kind of mentioned obviously that we're partners and we've worked together in the past. Are there any use cases or examples of Miro deployments that you've rolled out, kind of in partnership with us that come to mind for you as, key case studies you'd like to share?
Yeah, let me just first comment on one of the things that you said about how your technology is empowering our cleaners. I love that you said that, and that's exactly how we look at it as well. We don't want to add to the workload in any sense. Quite the opposite. We want to make a cleaning job more manageable for all of our staff. I mean, over the years, productivity rates have been increasing and increasing through the bidding process, and it means that there's a lot more ground for our frontline staff to cover, and it's getting challenging. So, we want this technology to also help them. So their workday is much more manageable, and they're able to plan and prioritize and really, ensure that the most important aspects of cleaning are accomplished every day. And that it's not just a race around the floor, to collect all the garbage bins and clean and disinfect where we can. We want to make this a lot more manageable and sustainable. So I appreciate that you said that. Well, in terms of, recent cases and case studies, I think you guys are in at least over 30 of the buildings that we're cleaning right now, which is great to see your presence increase so much. I think at every building we would have a good news story, a way that your technology has helped us and most importantly, help the property manager. And one that comes to mind, we did an installation. It's probably been about a year now up in North York. There was a tenant up there that we used to use the old school barcode tracking and reporting. And that was fine and all. It was showing when our staff were going into the washrooms and cleaning, but it wasn't showing us how the washrooms are being used. And so, in many cases, we're just going into the washroom and, we're going up the elevator, they're bringing the cleaning out into the corridor, going to the washroom and seeing that no one's been in there, nothing needs to be cleaned. And that's like 5-10 minutes that's just been wasted. So with the sensors now, we know exactly how the washrooms are being used. First of all, we got alerts when we reach that occupancy threshold, and we can go right to the washroom to get it serviced and stocked. But also we're getting the big data. So we can see, anytime, but also particularly a month end, we can look at the reports and say, okay, the 7th floor is being used 5 times more than the 8th. Okay, we got to increase our patrols on that floor. And it's done amazing things for the customer there. They've been able to see the benefits of a more efficient service, and of the washrooms that just take a beating throughout the day. We're more present in those washrooms, and they're not deteriorating like they used to before. So we're seeing just a ton of benefits there, and that's solved a big problem that we had, which is very important to us and important to our client as well. So that's one that comes to mind. I'm sure we could talk for hours about some of the other things we've accomplished together, but I think that that's a pretty good example.
Yeah, really appreciate you sharing that. That particular deployment is definitely a kind of interesting one for us as well, because of the unique nature of the, setup and a lot of the stringent requirements and how we were able to, kind of fit our solution to meet the individual needs of the buildings and the tenants at that site. So, we definitely enjoyed kind of that process and appreciate you sharing some of that. My next question would be, you mentioned a couple of other technologies that you had in place at client sites. Obviously, the cleaning industry is no stranger to some of these. If you've been to all the ISA shows, there's always a plethora of different technologies and kind of, iterations upon the same things. I've been to your corporate office in Etobicoke, and, there's tons of technology in that space. It's almost like a showcase, of Mero alongside many other different systems. So maybe if you wouldn't mind just talking about some of the other, technologies that you've seen come up that you think are exciting, other solutions that, you think can work really well, whether it's with Mero on their own or otherwise, and, how you like to feature those when, bringing different solutions to your clients.
Yeah, I'd say that one of the other big ones, and I've spoken about it just in one of your past questions, but robotics is big. We had a little vacuum robot running through our office for several months here that we were piloting. Our team even, I think, saw it as become part of the family. We've also tested a lot of the floor scrubbing robots as well. I know those robots can now also do spraying of high touch points with disinfectant as well, which is pretty cool. So that's probably one of the other bigger innovations that's actually delivered value. Robots they do work great in sort of large open areas. I know there's a lot of applications recently in airports and malls, and they are able to save labor, and obviously they can perform a pretty consistent job as well too. There's pros and cons with any innovations, but they've definitely come a long way. So we're continuing to keep our eyes on that. We've got a few robots up and running in downtown Toronto as well. So that's exciting as a way to automate more of our service. And that helps deal with some of the challenges with the shrinking labor pool as well, as I've mentioned. In terms of other innovations, we have UV disinfection going on in our office that we're experimenting with. We've got, the hygienic door handles that automatically replace themselves, which are pretty neat. I would say like another really big innovation. This isn't necessarily technologically focused, but centralized waste is gaining a lot of traction. It's innovative because it's a different way of picking up garbage, basically moving from desk side bins to central stations. It's great for diversion and capture rates because it just increases the conscious effort of discarding your garbage and recycling. So that's one that we're doing all over the city right now. We're having meetings almost on a weekly basis with that. I think we've covered, a lot of the major ones. There's some neat innovations with some new machines as well too. Again, that's more sort of traditional technology, and that's more of what I described as sort of the linear advances in technology. I think we've captured sort of the big ones. A lot of this technology as well, obviously the incorporation of artificial intelligence is a big thing for us, and we're getting this sort of big data that allows us to really rethink how we're cleaning is big. Even something that we're doing with you guys, and there's a few other companies doing this as well too, I know, is using sensor technology and other technologies that actually measure occupancy and activity in an office space. I know there's heat mapping and other things like that, but that's been really neat because, we've been able to use that information to tailor the cleaning on a nightly basis. So if we know where everyone is on the floor and we get a report before the cleaning routine schedules that night, we'll just go to those areas and we can do a really, really good job in those areas. And the other areas that aren't being utilized, we don't need to go to every single night. We can go and take care of the high dusting and the other periodics on a weekly basis or at another sort of prescribed frequency. So seeing a lot of that as well too, which is really neat. I think a lot of our customers are looking to us to figure that part of it out in terms of, the on-demand cleaning, and also the verification of the cleaning, and in the pilots that we do have that are using this technology, we're also showing once our cleaner has been in the space, it provides the assurances, by way of a report to our customer that that area was actually serviced, which is, I know that is going to be invaluable to our customers.
Got it.
Yeah, that was a lot of different thoughts and ideas, but that covers, I think, a lot of the things that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, I think that really covers a lot of ground because I think, at Mero and it seems like at Hallmark as well, what we're really trying to do is to help bring in the new era of cleaning. Yeah. I think the common thing that we say a lot of times is, the most impactful innovation in the industry over the past, 50 years has been the microfiber cloth. And it's kind of a tongue in cheek statement, but it almost goes to show that, not a lot has, a lot has been offered, but only a few things have stuck around. And of course, we hope that these technologies and all of them to push the industry forward can help do that. And just kind of as one of my closing questions here, if you had any words of advice for one of your clients, imagine you're in the shoes of a property management client, what would be one of those words of advice that you would provide? It can be anything, whether it be technology and innovation, it can be about, what you expect for the future. Yeah. To talk to me a little bit about your unique perspective that you would use as advice towards one of your clients.
Yeah, I got to say first, we're super fortunate to have, I think, some of the best clients out there. I mean, getting through this pandemic and dealing with everything that's changing. I mean, we've gotten so much support. We've seen nothing but open minds and understanding and patience, and that's been awesome. I'd say the overriding theme would be partnership. I think if you really partner with your cleaning contractor or any of your vendors, that's where you're going to get the most value. If you look at us as sort of being a part of your extended family, that's where we can really, really accomplish our goals. I think when the relationship is looked at as, well, we're just a vendor and I'm paying you to do this. And, which again, we don't see, we got really good customers, but I know that it happens out there where it's almost more of like it can be a bit of an adversarial relationship. I don't think that that works. I think that, when the partnership's there, it encourages a free flowing ideas, open communication, sharing, transparency, then that opens the door for, so much. I mean, the sky's the limit after that. Yeah. Beyond that, I think just, continuing to be understanding and patient with us and the labor challenges that we're experiencing. We're going to continue doing our best to make sure that the buildings are as clean as possible, that you're getting responsiveness and consistency every day. But there will be challenges. There's going to be some tough days and tough months where we're struggling to fill positions. And so, patience and understanding, I think goes a long way. Yeah, I would say that that pretty well covers it. Again, like I think we're really lucky in the space that we work in. We've got some of the best, brightest, most creative, fun customers out there, and we've been really appreciative of the support that we've received, especially over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's a perfect place to really cap us off. I think the partnership is really evident with the way that you work with, your clients and what we've seen and we've felt it as well here at Mero. So Chris, you've been really generous with your time. I really appreciate you, taking the time out to share some of your learnings and thoughts about the cleaning and hygiene industry and as well as the property management industry. So I appreciate it very much. And yeah, look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Nathan. I appreciate you having me, and it's always fun to discuss the latest and greatest in cleaning, particularly technology. So appreciate you having me, and also appreciate partnership with Miro and all the great stuff you guys have done for us and in our buildings. So it's a pleasure.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. And thanks everybody for listening.